What is good, everybody? Juliana Page here, and by popular demand, I am exploring dating again, or relationships really. So there was some feedback around how to really know if after you've invested some time, or if you're considering investing more time and you're just feeling that feeling in your gut that something's missing or something's not right. And I am going to be speaking primarily to women, but when you're feeling that, majority of the time you got to listen to your intuition. And honestly, if you're walking a spirit-led life, that's Holy Spirit letting you know that something's not quite right here. So I want to talk about, there's 7 things that for a woman to really make sure that you are not doing when you're dating. These are really important things. So the main concept, as you can see from the title, is that dating is about gathering data. Okay. This is really the whole point, right? And you don't want to tie your life to anybody who doesn't fit your future. So you want to really gather data around that. Does this person fit my future and where I'm going? And a lot of times we could probably spare ourselves a lot of pain and a lot of trauma and a lot of healing that happens from being connected to the wrong people. So really, what is first and foremost before even considering getting into a relationship, settling down with anybody, don't settle, but really merging your life with somebody else's is to really take time to figure out who you are and where you're going. If you don't know that, I really discourage being connected, especially when you talk marriage, to anybody else, because that is only going to come up later. Okay, so what are 7 things to not do when you're dating? Remember, you're here to gather information. So there's some things that you definitely should not be doing if gathering information is your purpose, okay? Number 1 is never invest in a man's business idea. Don't do it. Here's why. Usually that is, the term running game, the phrase running game. It's suspect, in other words. And really why that is I, on a receiving end before, have felt like he's looking at you as a check, right? So in a relationship, particularly a godly relationship, a man is looking to cover a woman, right? He's looking to earn her trust and to make sure that she feels covered. He's not going to ask her to cover him, okay? That really messes up the roles from the beginning, and you should never lean into somebody asking you for money, particularly somebody you don't know yet. And you should never put yourself in a position to fund a business idea. If you play that movie out, a lot of times what happens is a woman who has worked really hard to get out of debt, to become financially stable, to, take care of hers and steward well what she's been given, can take whatever resource she's earned and cultivated, right? She will put that towards a man and then never hear from him again. So never do that. Never do that. You've got to make sure that this man is out to cover you. Otherwise, he's not a fit for your future. Number 2 is never give a man vision. Now, I have seen this happen many times in my own life with folks who were not the right fit, where because of my background as a visionary, as a coach, as a leader, as somebody that's really great about drawing that out of people, a lot of times men, everyone really, but a lot of times I've experienced relationships where a man wants me to draw that out of him. And any man, here's the thing, any man that requires a woman to give him a vision is not qualified to lead a woman anywhere. Huh. Oh my God. That is so good. I hope you get it. Any man that requires a woman to give him vision is not qualified to lead a woman anywhere. So another way to say that is that a real man, a godly man, a spirit-led man is one who comes with that vision included, okay? Because he's got direct connect to God, just like you've got direct connect to God, and you're not supposed to be the one that's downloading vision for yourself and downloading vision for him, downloading vision for the relationship and bringing that over. It's not supposed to flow like that at all, because that doesn't flow. So here's the other thing too. You've heard it said probably that, you know, sometimes women get in relationships because they're looking for projects. Never a good plan. God is the only one that can work out maturity in a human. God is the only one. So a queen doesn't look for potential. She looks for fruit of the spirit in this case. Is this man bearing good fruit? Look at his life. Don't go by what he says, go by what he does, right? And how he spends his time. So if he has no vision for what God is doing, he makes a mess out of everything. Right? I mean, look at your own life. When you don't have God guiding and directing your steps, it's messy. And you lead yourself into a lot of places that, sure, maybe you get by for a minute. Maybe you can get a hustle going. Maybe you can figure things out in your own understanding and by your own power, but it's not for his glory. And unless the Lord builds the house, it will not stand. So you don't want to deal with that. Number 3, you are never and should never be a man's secret. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You should never be a man's secret. I don't care what the reason, what the excuse. You should never, 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 never be a man's secret. Secrets are shady. Straight up. Secrets are shady. So never submit to being a man's secret. Anyone that likes the dark, right, that likes hanging out in the dark, either is doing something illegal or is immoral, right? Because a lot of times, you don't like the light if you're in the dark because your ways are evil and you don't want to be exposed. I'm trying to find that verse. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can find it. Dun, dun, dun. I think it's for his ways are evil. Dun, dun, dun. Man, we'll see if I can find it. Dun, 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 dun. Give light and the darkness will disappear itself. That's not scripture, but that's good. The light shines in darkness and the darkness can never extinguish it. Oh, here it is. John 3:19-20. And the judgment is based on this fact. God's light came into the world, but people love the darkness more than the light, for their actions were evil. All who do evil hate the light and refuse to go near it for fear their sins will be exposed. What? There it is. Okay. Secrets are shady. Number 4, never get swept away with sexual advances or really flattery. Don't get swept away with that. So really what that means is you want to, again, the purpose of dating is to get data. And coming as a journalist, you really want to have a vision of where you're going, of who you are and where you're going. But the vision that God has for you, you really want to be partnered with that. And then you get the data that either agrees with that or it doesn't. And then you know what your action is. So vet every word that comes out of a man's mouth. Vet it. Vet it. Do his actions back up his word, or does he have a lot of flattery and like a lot of charm? That's great. But like, what's behind that? What's the motive? What's the intention? What's going on in his heart? Gather that data, right? So, understand when your own soul is at risk. This is so, so important because a lot of people don't talk to women. I mean, you hear hearsay about soul ties, but very rarely do people talk about the impact of those and how those can literally destroy you. Often this even leads to death, right? So it's really important. You got to be whole to be able to perceive and discern when your own soul's at risk. So mentally, what are the thoughts that this person potentially could be manipulating with you? What emotions is he trying to trigger and really provoke you with, right? What is he trying to get stored up into your heart so that you really become destabilized? That's not healthy at all. And a manipulator, a controller, I don't like this word, but I have experienced it in real life. Somebody that has narcissistic personality disorder will employ these tactics. So it's really important to pay attention to that. Disclaimer, not everybody is a narcissist though. So make sure that you are careful about calling somebody that. All right, number 5, never expose yourself emotionally to a man. Okay, so this is kind of what I was alluding to before, but predators, really people that don't mean you any good, intentionally push buttons to really determine what strategy they can use on you and what all they can get away with. It's a game, again. So you really want to wait until it's safe before you just share all of your emotions and have a breakdown potentially, and let and reveal really how much this person has power over you in that way. You really want to make sure that if you're gonna have any kind of meltdown, it's in your prayer closet, it's with a trusted counselor, mentor, somebody that can give you some spirit-led direction preferably, but not in front of somebody that is not safe and that would use that against you. 6, never cancel plans for a man last minute. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. So basically, when you cancel plans last minute and when you just bend and flex at, every beck and call from a man, you're really teaching him how to respect you by the way you respect yourself. And if you don't respect yourself, if you don't respect your time, if you don't have solid boundaries, he will push you to the extent that you can't take it anymore. And that is crazy frustrating. And it will literally wear you down and really probably bring out a majority of your insecurities versus your best. So here's another way to look at that. His use of his time determines his priorities. So, I mean, if you are coming up on his calendar last minute, it's because he's thinking about you last minute. There's no intention behind that at all. That's just facts, right? So keep that in mind. When a man truly cares for you, you'll be a priority. You won't have to ask, you won't have to beg, you won't have to figure it out. And really, a man that is ready for a serious relationship, marriage, he's going to respect a woman that has boundaries. And he's going to make sure that he makes you a priority. So if you're not a priority, I would say that speaks a lot right now. Okay. And then lastly, number 7, do not shrink who you are to accommodate his intimidation. Oh my God, I hope you got that. Do not shrink who you are to accommodate his intimidation. So again, no judgment, not good, bad, right, or wrong, but somebody who can't handle your strength or your success or where you're headed. So for example, if you are passionate, if you're visionary, if you can stand on your own 2 feet, if you don't need another human in order to be whole and that intimidates somebody else, do not shrink or lower yourself to go to that level. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. That means you're unequally yoked. It's another way of saying that. So, and really somebody who would have this sort of intimidation usually is thinking of himself poorly, is not a man or a good fit for you, not man enough for you or not a good fit for you, and is unpredictable. Okay, so you can put that person right back in the friend zone. Okay, so how do you handle this? I think the main thing out of all of these points is, yes, make sure that you're getting data, but also don't be consumed by the idea of having a man that you divorce the vision and plan that God has for you. You really need to believe God and that God has the right man that he'll bring alongside you and literally bring into your life at the right time, when you're ready, when you've healed, when you're whole, when you can see that relationship is an asset, right? So you never want to be in a position where you need a man, because you will always be in a relationship for the wrong reason and you'll lose yourself. and you'll probably be taken advantage of. A lot of dysfunction will start coming up in that relationship, and it'll be really unhealthy for you. So hopefully this gives you some context around if you are in a relationship in the early stages and just being like, something ain't right. Maybe it's one of these things. If you've been in a relationship for a long period of time and all of these are coming up, then that should be a significant sign for you. But mostly pray about it and ask for wisdom, ask for discernment, but also pray for the courage, for the strength, for the bravery to walk away if you need to walk away, and for strength to trust God, trust that he has a good plan. Jeremiah 29:11, he promises to give you a future and a hope. He doesn't want you to be experiencing hope deferred and your heart getting sick. He doesn't want you to constantly be in these patterns and cycles of broken relationships. It's not what he's about. So I hope this blessed you. If it did, make sure you subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. And if you know somebody that needs to hear this message or be reminded of it on today, make sure you copy the link and share with your friends. All right. And if you need more resources, coaching, a self-mastery course, what else do we got? We got 21-day challenges and all sorts of goodies. If you need more support in your life, and particularly spirit-led support, make sure you go visit julianapage.com. And you can also follow me for some daily life happenings over on Instagram at Miss Juliana Page. All right, guys, until next time, stay blessed. Bye.